Okay, now we're going to look at problem set 19, and we're going to look at additive inverse. And remember, we've looked at additive inverse before. An additive inverse are just a quantity's additive inverse is just itself with the opposite sign. If the sum of two quantities is 0, then the quantities are additive inverse. Another way to think about it is they are opposites. So 8, the additive inverse is a negative 8. Negative 15x, the additive inverse is 15x. 2x plus negative 3p, the additive inverse is a negative 2x plus 3p. So we've done this before. And when we're talking about subtraction, subtraction is really just adding the opposite, or adding the additive inverse. So if I say a minus b, that's the same thing as saying a plus a negative b. So for example, if I have 12 minus 9, that is the same thing as saying 12 plus a negative 9, which is negative 3. We're just adding the opposite of 9. 13 minus a negative 25, well, we know negative times negative is a positive, so really it's just adding the opposite. So if I change this to adding, the opposite of negative 25 would be a positive 25, and that gives me 38. If I have negative 7p minus 8p, that's the same thing as adding a negative 8p, which would give me a negative 15p. So if we want to simplify using the additive inverse and the negative 1, for example, here's the first problem. 5x minus 2 plus 3x. I'm going to say this is the same thing as saying 5x plus a negative 1 times 2x plus 3x. So then I'm going to distribute that negative 1. And so negative 1 times 2 gives me a negative 2, and negative 1 times 3x gives me a negative 3x. Then I can combine like terms. 5x plus a negative 3x gives me 2x plus a negative 2. So here is another example, example 2. Let's say I have a negative 3x minus 2 minus 2. So I'm going to turn this into a negative 1 times 3x plus a negative 1 times 2 plus a negative 1 times 2. So here I can distribute this. Well, negative 1 times 2 gives me a negative 2. And negative 1 times 3x plus negative 2 is the same as saying negative 3x plus 2, because don't forget to distribute this negative not just to the first term but to the second term also. And then I had plus a negative 2. Well, the negative 3x stays the same, but if I have plus 2 plus a negative 2, those two cancel out and I'm left with just a negative 3x. And finally, a third example would be 2p minus 4w minus 3p minus 4p minus w. So really this is the same as saying plus a negative 1 times 4 and plus a negative 1 times 3 and plus a negative 1 times all of this and plus a negative 1 times w. So that gives us 2p plus negative 4w plus negative 3p plus negative 4p plus w, because we're going to distribute that negative 1. And then I have 4p plus a negative 3p minus 4p. That all adds up to give me a negative 5p. We're just combining like terms. And I have a negative 4w plus a w gives me a negative 3w. And that's all we can do. So notice, a subtraction sign turns into plus times a negative 1 times something. So that is problem set 19.